Welcome to the Pocket Sized PR podcast, the podcast where pocket-sized portions of PR wisdom are distilled by communications professionals. I'm your host, Charlotte Nichols from PR agency Harvey and Hugo, and in the studio with me today, we have Ellie Chapman. Ellie is founder of Lim, business illustrator, and a graphic facilitator. Ellie, welcome to the show. Please, can you define PR for me?
Yes. I'd say PR is all about telling people's stories in a really clear and understandable way for everybody to understand.
Love that. And so concise. Thank you very much for that. And how important are visual tools in public relations?
So I think when it comes to any form of communication, it's really helpful when people can actually see what people are saying and what they mean. I think that when it's only words that are used, things can become understood in a different way than maybe they weren't intended. So if I said to you, the dog ran across the road, you think of a dog.
Totally. Border terrier, of course.
Yeah, border terrier. And then I might think of a spaniel. And then I'd ask you, is the road busy or quiet? You'd be like, oh, the road's really busy. And I say, are there any parked cars or is there any dangers? And so you can quickly see how if I asked 10 people that same question, everybody would have a different answer. So by being able to actually see something visually can really help shared understanding.
Oh, that's such a good example. And it's so true. And people think and conjure up different styles of images or words in their mind to help them picture things. It's madness, really, but you just assume that everyone has the same thoughts and imagery as you.
Yes, exactly. And then so if you think about meetings and coming to an agreement on a decision and you haven't written anything down, people have written the decision in their own notebooks and what the next steps are, people leave the room without that clear, we're all going in this direction. People wonder why when you leave the meeting, people aren't on the same page. It's because there's not that shared resource for everybody to use and see.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if you think about the most basic form of storytelling, which obviously PR involves storytelling, in children's storybooks, there's pictures there that help things come to life, help people understand the meaning behind the words.
Yeah. And as humans, we've been working visually for as long as we've been on the planet. Think about cave paintings, think about ancient Egypt and the hieroglyphics.
Yes.
Our brains are visually wired to work in visuals. And I think actually something like 65% of people are visual learners. And so when you think about that in terms of storytelling and how we are as humans and our preferences, we really should be using visuals a lot more in our communications and in our meetings and events and in PR.
Cool. I'm a big fan of visuals, so that's good with me. So what role can visuals play in developing and delivering strategy?
So this is an interesting question because we work a lot with leadership teams to help them visualize their strategy. So if you think about people being in a room together and there's the initial conversation where people are working stuff out, those types of conversations can be quite messy in a way that you've got to get everything out on a page. You've got to be able to hear perspective. You've got to be able to have a bit of disagreement. You've got to be able to look at the connections and look at the relationship between different things that you're agreeing for your strategy. So there's that rough and ready conversation that needs to happen.
Yes.
But then once that leadership team are aligned, they're clear, they're on the same page, then it's about how they're going to share that strategy with the rest of the organisation. So how are they going to get people on the same page? Because everybody needs to move in the same direction so that they can achieve their goals, achieve their vision, really deliver their strategy. So that's where another type of visual working comes in, or way of working comes in, where you might visualize your strategy. You might print it in your meeting room. You might print it in your boardroom. You might print it and give it to everybody as a postcard. So everybody is aligned and they are seeing the visual. They are used to hearing the words. And so when their leadership team say, we're working on our strategy, we're on this pillar, there's no confusion. Everybody knows what they're talking about.
That makes so much sense. Rather than like a big chunky document that's put in a drawer.
Exactly.
You daren't even dig into it because it's so complicated.
Exactly. And those documents can happen and they are very, very useful. But imagine on your strategy, you might have a QR code that takes you to a digital document where there's a deep dive on that particular part of the strategy with the numbers and all the bits that you need. But it's like, how can you make those strategy documents more accessible to people? Because we don't have time to sit and read 100 pages of black and white words on a page.
Absolutely accessible and memorable. I think that's so important. So we talked a little bit about hieroglyphics.
Yes.
Would you say that emoji are the modern day hieroglyphics, and what's your opinion on them?
Oh, I love this question. Do you know what? I really like emojis, and I was working with a friend of mine. She's a copywriter when we first started LIM, and she said to me, Ellie, please don't use exclamation marks. And so I've been very much like against exclamation marks, because she said it just kind of can cheapen in a way your point.
It's our style as well, not to use them, not to overuse them.
Yes, yeah. So then when you think about an emoji, she was like, Ellie, use emojis. You know, you can really say a lot with an emoji. So for example, I know there is a time and a place. You don't want to like be emailing a CEO and then do like a tongue out with a crying or whatever it is face. That might be a bit inappropriate. But I think to use an emoji to really kind of back up what you're saying, or to create excitement or to create intrigue, is a really great thing. And using them on LinkedIn, or, you know, why not use them in a PowerPoint presentation? You don't need to do words. Have a bit of fun with the visuals. And the great thing about emojis is they're accessible. You don't have to kind of pay an outsource creation of an emoji. They're available, so why not use them?
Yeah, definitely. And they add that kind of sentiment feeling to it, which sometimes words are harder to pick up from, or perhaps to avoid that confusion if there's a clear joke, the winking emoji. But yeah, it is interesting, because I do feel that sometimes, I mean, I'm a big fan of them now, but it did take me a while. At first I thought, how lazy. You should be able to describe what you're meaning in words, especially coming from kind of more of a written agency or copywriting agency. But yeah, I'm a big fan of them now, but they definitely have a place, don't they?
And what about GIFs?
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. Again, I do struggle sometimes with GIFs. They are funny, and I like receiving them, but sometimes I find it's quicker to just write something than search for the right one. I'm quite particular.
Down a hole of GIFs trying to find exactly what you're looking for.
And again, with GIFs, there can be mixed meanings behind them. I know there's one I received the other day, and I was thinking, is that a little bit racist, you know? So again, you can think less of someone based on the type of gift that might have been sent very harmless and without meaning to be anything like that. So again, it goes just the same as what we said at the start of the podcast. Language is so important, and how you choose to use it. And so then is imagery.
Yes. Definitely.
There's a lot of meetings in the world of PR and marketing, as in a lot of different industries. How can a graphic facilitator help improve the efficiency of meetings?
Oh, I could talk about this for hours. So if we just kind of take a step back and think about how I came into this world of work. So my mum's a facilitator. Okay. So I've grown up in the world of people having really good meetings. You know, we'd come home from school long before the days of working from home, and she'd be on the phone with a leadership team, helping them to have a good meeting. So I've grown up in this world. I've also worked with lots of different facilitators, seen really good stuff and seen stuff that isn't quite as good. Okay. So when we think about meetings that are happening all over the world, and really meetings are the currency of within a business, everything happens in a meeting, yet meetings get the blame because when people say, I've got too many meetings, our meetings go round and round, or the same people speak. I don't know how to actually get into the conversation. Yeah. So when we think about people in a meeting room, if you just think about the brains in the room and what is possible when people are in a meeting, it's like, wow, we could do a lot of stuff. Yet people don't seem to do the work in a meeting. It's like we have a conversation about it and then we do the work. And it's like, hang on a second. Yeah. You can actually do the work in the meeting. And so it all comes down. So LIM's got a sister brand called TFP, and that stands for the Facilitation Partnership. And they are meeting facilitators. And that's where Mum works, Helen and Ben, our business partner as well, along with other facilitators. And there's a framework that they use, which is called PREP. So P stands for purpose, R stands for roles, E stands for expected outcomes or the essential outcomes, and the final P stands for plan, so your agenda. So you need to get really clear on your prep before a meeting. So why on earth are you coming together? Who do I need and what do I need them for? And if we can achieve anything by the end of it, it would be these three things. And then how on earth are we going to tackle what we need to tackle? But what often happens is agendas become really, really long, bullet pointed list, point after point after point after point after point. You never get to those bottom 5 points and you think, oh, we'll put that in the next meeting. And often when you think about the process in a meeting, it can be a presentation and then a discussion or a Q&A. But actually, when you think about the different ways to have conversations, just a PowerPoint and a Q&A or a PowerPoint and discussion isn't necessarily going to help you to get the best from the brains in the room. So where graphic facilitation comes in is how can you play with process? How can you work visually to really enable the group to have the conversations that they need to have?
Yeah.
It might be that you go out on a paired walk. You give the group, you set them a question, go out for a walk, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, give them a A5 post-it note and a pen. They have a conversation, write down their points on a post-it note, come back, stick it up on a template, stick their thoughts or responses, then have a conversation about it. It might be if you're working on your strategy, you might have a really big visual template in the room, and over the course of the day, your conversations are all contributing to that. So I often find that it's really hard for me to talk about just visuals to help with meeting efficiency, because it all comes down to that, the planning and the process and the people and the purpose. Because without that, the visuals, they're nice to have, and that's not what I want to do. I want to create really meaningful visuals for people to use in business.
I love that. And for our listeners, can you just remind us about that acronym PREP again? Because I think that's really important.
Yeah, so P stands for, PREP. First P stands for purpose. Why do you need to come together? The big why. The R is all about roles. So who do you need? And more importantly, what do you need them for? So before, have you ever accepted a meeting invite and then been like, why do you need to be there? Yeah. So let everybody know why you need to be there. Send them a WhatsApp message, drop by their desk and say, I really need you to bring your curiosity to this meeting. So roles. The E is the expected outcomes or the essential outcomes. So what 3 things do you need to achieve by the end of your time together? And then your final P is your plan, so your agenda. And what's really brilliant is if you can share that before with all the participants, and even better, get it visible in your meeting room, share it on a slide, write it on a piece of flip chart paper, and use it to focus the attention of your group as they come into the room. Because when we step into a meeting room, we've all been somewhere different. We've either dropped the kids off at school, we've been on a run, we've been in another really hard meeting, and actually you need to focus the brains on the work that you need to do.
Yeah, that's so important. I do find so many meetings are almost thrown in there as a delay tactic or we're a little bit lost tactic, just put it there. And then you're limited to what you get out of it. I think that's a really good acronym to remember.
Yeah, and there's a blog, I can give you the link so you can share.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. So with your focus on the visual things, and I know you do so much more than that as well, how do you feel about podcasts and other kind of audio streams that are available now? Yeah,
I love them. I think that in this world, we are so used to being able to find out everything about anything. And so being able to listen to a podcast, listen to an audio book, watch a film, watch a video podcast, there are, so many different ways to access the information that we need to access. And the fact that a lot of things is just out there for us to learn from, I think is really brilliant. I think that when it comes to the different things that I listen to, sometimes I really want a quick 15-minute, I just need some insight on this topic. I'm struggling with it, or I need to find out more information. Or have I got a bit more time? Do I want to get a bit more techie with some like Andrew Huberman kind of conversations? I've got time to really indulge in the conversation and listening. So I love that there's a huge variety of content and podcasts that we can listen to.
And do you think that, just purely audio communications is healthy without the visual side?
I think it varies. I think depending on what you want to get out of it. If you want to listen to a couple of friends having a chat about something funny, you don't necessarily need to see it.
No.
But if you're going to be learning about a scientific topic, or you want to learn something about business and there's kind of visual tools that they're using like diagrams, or it'll be helpful for you to see them talking it through, then yes, it's amazing to watch videos. It's amazing to have those diagrams being drawn on a whiteboard.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of audiobooks as well as podcasts, but if there's anything that I really need to learn, I have to kind of go back and try and look at some images, diagrams to help me understand it a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm the same.
What is your opinion of AI, particularly when it comes to visual communication?
So I think it's great. And I think there's also some hesitation. So when we think about where we are in the world right now, we're currently experiencing something that nobody actually knows where it's going to go, what's going to happen and how it's going to impact us as humans and actually our brains. How reliant are we going to be on this thing called AI? When it comes to visuals, there's been lots of talk and concern in the illustration industry about how AI they're going to be learning from the visuals that we're creating to be able to create them themselves. And so what happens to the illustrators? What happens to their style? They don't want their visuals to be training AI models. And so I think from the people side of it, I know we need to adapt and change, but I worry about the creativity and the strength of our creative industry and what's going to happen with that. That said, I'm also seeing how AI is really supporting people to work more efficiently, how it's really helping processes and teams to work better. So I'm excited by it, but also concerned about what's going to happen to our creative industry and our brains. What's going to happen to them in 30 years' time?
Yes, apparently, like we do for the gym these days, we'll be having some sort of mental workout because otherwise we won't be using them, which is horrifying, isn't it? But again, if you told people thousands of years ago or hundreds of years ago even that we would have to go to the gym to work out instead of doing all the manual labour we do as part of our day because machines would replace it, they'd be thinking, don't be silly, that's ridiculous.
Never thought of it like that. Yeah.
Like go and move some like iron in the gym or metal in the gym just to keep fit. That sounds ridiculous. But apparently it's much more complex than just like puzzles as well, because we won't be using our proper kind of thoughts. There's a fear that we'll become thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness will be a thing. So it's interesting and scary.
It's interesting, scary, exciting and unknown.
Yes. Yeah. Like anything unknown. It's a little bit frightening, a little bit exciting. So yeah. So I don't often give guests homework on this show, but seeing as you are a graphic facilitator, I wondered if after this podcast, when you listen back, you could produce a graphic to kind of illustrate how the conversation flowed. Of course
I will. So what I'll do is once I've got the kind of recording, I'll listen to the conversation and capture it in real time like I would in a meeting. Then you've got a visual resource to go alongside this.
Brilliant. That'll be interesting. And to end on the podcast, what is your top PR tip?
My top PR tip would be about how you are using visuals in your communications to really help with the storytelling and to help make your conversations and your content more accessible and engaging for people.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Ellie.
Thank you.
Nobody can do business with you if they don't know about your business. But nobody will do business with you if your business's brand doesn't have trust and credibility. PR is the secret sauce in the marketing mix that can help achieve this and so much more. If you're interested in how PR can help your business, contact Harvey and Hugo, harveyandhugo.com, or email info@harveyandhugo.com.